days ahead of what could be the first good snowfall of the season. The KBJR 6 and Range 11 News at 10 starts now.
Live from the Northlands News Center, this is the KBJR 6 and Range 11 News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Elayne Crecelius. Thanks for joining us tonight. In the 3 days it runs, the American Birkebeiner helps bring in an average of $5 million to the Hayward cable communities. Economic impact aside, however, it's the determination of those going for the gold that truly makes the Berkey the greatest show on snow. Billy Wagness has more.
Blame it on the fresh snowfall that blanketed much of northwestern Wisconsin earlier this week, but something ignited the flame in over 9,400 skiers from around the world to trek the infamous trail from Cable to Hayward for the 39th annual American Birkebeiner.
Pretty incredible considering that, about 5-10 miles south of here there really isn't any snow at all. So it's incredible. The course was just in perfect shape.
As racers continued to shuffle past the finish line, those whose intensive training led them straight to the winner's circle met at the Berkey cabin to share their story. Olympic world medalist Holly Brooks, who took first in the women's skate, said she was hoping for the best after missing first by a literal inch 3 years ago.
I was hoping that today might be my day, and so now I get to kind of check that off the list.
Brooks, a native Alaskan, said she owed the win to the constant reminders from her friends back home.
They have not let me forget that I lost by this much.
Joe Dubé, a St. Scholastica freshman who took first in the men's classic, said he could contribute much of his win to the training he received on the St. Scholastica ski team.
I think it definitely contributed to being able to hang out with Vegard in the race for a while.
For first place finisher in the women's classic ski, Carolyn Okaras, however, finishing the Berkey was only half of the battle. Okaras is planning to roller ski across the U.S. as part of a fundraiser for impoverished communities in South America.
96 cents out of every dollar goes directly to the cause. So we're really excited to start actually next weekend. We're going to start in Charleston, South Carolina and ski to San Francisco, California.
Determined to go for the gold, whether on the track or off. In Hayward, Billy Wagness, the Northlands News Center.
With 2012 hailed as the largest racer turnout to date, the Berkey is credited for being the largest tourism event for the northwestern Wisconsin region. Well, today's weather was great for the race, and Dave Anderson joins us now from the Weather Garden with a look at our Weather Now forecast. And Dave, it sounds like we might be getting a little bit more snow over the night.
Yes, we should start to see snow around our region roughly around 1 o'clock in the morning in Minnesota, just a little bit later for folks in northern Wisconsin, and then a little bit farther out for people in the upper peninsula. The snowstorm, I don't know if we can call it a huge blizzard. It technically won't be a blizzard, but we can call it a moderate snowfall. So there is a winter storm warning in effect for northern Minnesota north of Duluth through Monday morning, and winter weather advisory for much of the rest of Minnesota. Wisconsin seems to be off the hook. Here is a quick look at some of the totals we're expecting then through Monday morning. 4 to 8 for much of northern Minnesota, 2 to 4 for the rest. We'll take another look at that snow total map and talk about the time frame this will happen, and another snow that could be coming as early as Tuesday night. Yeah, winter is finally here, Elayne, and it looks like it may come with at least a bit of a vengeance.
All right, well, thanks so much, Dave. One man is dead following a snowmobile accident in northern St. Louis County this evening. According to the St. Louis County Sheriff's Office, a 45-year-old man was riding a snowmobile when he hit a tree. The man sustained severe head trauma. First responders attempted to revive the man at the scene, but he died of his injuries. The identity of the man is being held pending family notification. The accident remains under investigation. The people of Mellon, Wisconsin had their voices heard by Wisconsin lawmakers today on the issue of a proposed mine in their backyard. Zach Vavrika was in Mellon today getting the details on what they want from Madison to bring the hundreds of jobs to the area and keep the environmental laws unchanged.
Tucked away in the outskirts of Mellon, Wisconsin is the Pinocchio Range, the proposed site of a controversial open pit iron ore mine that is supposed to bring hundreds of jobs to the area. And the reason that the Mellon High School saw much more activity on this overcast Saturday afternoon.
Changing our lifestyle, I guess there's a lot of us saying that that's going to be a major impact.
John Baker lives 1 mile away from the proposed site. He's here to ask the 5 Wisconsin lawmakers that showed up in Mellon the tough questions.
That I'm not going to be, kicked out of my house and taken off my land at a fair market value, or having my well go dry where they appreciate in value.
And he's not the only one with questions.
In God's name, can these people decide they're going to chop the top off the Panoke Mountains, probably damage the Bad River watershed, and have never even been to the region?
Are our houses in peril?
There's ore in the ground, but the jobs aren't going to last forever because eventually that ore is going to run out.
The majority of people living in Mellon want a mining bill that doesn't compromise or change the environmental laws in Wisconsin.
I think largely the people who want this mine want it, but they want laws that are going to protect them, and they want strong laws.
But some citizens in that area just want the mining proposal to go away.
Are we willing to say we're known as the biggest open pit mine in the world? Are we willing to say we want to be one of the best watersheds in the world?
Either way, the citizens of Mellon want the lawmakers who heard their voices to go back to Madison, forget about politics, and come to a conclusion on a bipartisan law.
Because if you guys don't work together, we all fail. So please take this example back with you and spread it. Thank you.
In Mellon, Zach Vavrika with the Northlands News Center.
State Senators Bob Jauch and Dale Schultz, who were at the meeting, have come up with a 13-page bipartisan proposal after the Mining Senate Committee was dissolved in Madison. GOP Assembly leaders have dismissed it, saying it has parts that are anti-business. The new bill could either take over as the main legislation or be merged with the Mining Assembly bill in the next 2 weeks. Canadian National Railway is continuing demolition of the Sioux Line ore dock in Ashland. The permits approved last year allow for the removal of everything but the concrete base. The ore dock is listed on the city's historic register. It was built in 1916 and is one of the largest in the world, stretching over 1,900 feet into the lake. The project should be done by the end of 2014. Hundreds of child care providers from around Minnesota and Wisconsin gathered at the deck for the 5th annual Appreciation and Training event. The event is meant as a big thank you to all of those in northeastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin who take care of children in their home. Around 400 people attended the event, all of whom received educational resources from the Northland Foundation. Organizers of the event say it is critical children are surrounded by positive and nurturing environments during their young years. Experts say home care providers can offer that and help develop some of the most important skills children will ever learn.
Children need to be talked with, have the opportunity to communicate, to learn about words, to be read to, all of those things that really are key to their development.
Well, in another part of the deck, those looking to break out of the cabin fever funk were able to do so today at the annual Family Fun Fest. With appearances from Dora the Explorer to the Pink Panther, children and adults alike had nothing but smiles and laughter to go around. Rides, games, drawings, and food. Fun Fest goers were able to partake in family fun. It's an event Tracy Lundeen has been a part of for many years. Well, still to come, oldies but goodies. Antique snowmobiles hit the trails for a late season trail ride. We'll be right back. Last Monday, just enough snow fell to save the day for the 14th annual Fish Lake Vintage Snowmobile Challenge. The ride wasn't perfect, but few were complaining. Dave Anderson has the story.
Get your motor running. Head out on the lake. Give yourself some distance because vintage snowmobiles sometimes have bad brakes. All apologies to Steppenwolf, but that classic rock song often comes to mind when traveling to the Fish Lake Vintage Snowmobile Challenge. This is the 14th annual, and this one was bigger than most because most towns in the Northland don't have much snow. Ours drew in people from as far away as Hinckley.
This is the only event that's had snow all year, so I spent a lot of time prepping for this one, and it's the only one I'm going to make or probably do this year because of no snow.
Even the Fish Lake Vintage Run had to be shortened because of low snow totals. It ran only 12 miles rather than the usual 20. Vintage machines are considered 1984 and earlier models, and even 12 miles is a challenge for them, hence the name. Still, guys like Fred Fabian of Brule made the scene to show off his early 60s Polaris that has been completely restored.
I had a friend of mine that redid classic cars redo it, and it's pretty much original except for some sheet metal.
Melvin DeRoss of Duluth also has an early 60s rear-engine Polaris. He bought his in 1969.
I came up with a $100 bill and she's served the purpose ever since.
Half of the fun at the Fish Lake Challenge is dressing the part. I've got my dad's 1972 vintage snowmobile suit on, family heirloom so to speak, and wouldn't you know it, someone else is wearing a pretty similar ensemble. Among this crowd, that's not a fashion faux pas, it's more of an homage. Not everyone at the run this year was an old-timer who grew up with the old machines. South Carolina native Chief Meteorologist Adam Clark took part to try his first snowmobile ride. He does have an old 50s Buick and enjoyed his jaunt on a 72 Arctic Cat, but his own sled may not be in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if my wife will let me get a vintage sled. I think the Buick is going to be it for a while, yeah.
Even with the shortened ride, event organizer Steve Wick says this year's biggest challenge during the Fish Lake Challenge was not to smile.
Lots of fun. Yeah, everybody gets together, there's always a smile on their face.
On Fish Lake aboard a 1980 Polaris Galaxy, Dave Anderson, the Northlands News Center.
Well, Vintage Snowmobile Buffs are already polishing their rides for the next old-timer rally in Mattawa next weekend. Well, still to come on the KBJR 6 and Range 11 News at 10. Winter finally seems to be bearing down on the Northland. Just how much snow will fall? Dave will be back with a look at your extended Weather Now forecast. Stay with us. Before we go tonight, if running 26.2 miles doesn't appeal to you, maybe dancing for 11 hours is your kind of marathon. Last night, UMD hosted an overnight dance marathon, and that began at 7 and ended at 6 a.m. this morning. It featured several DJs, performers, food, games, and dance lessons. The dance marathon was part of a national movement to raise funds for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. That'll do it for the news here at 10, but we'll be back again tomorrow night at the same time. Until then, head to northlandsnewscenter.com. Thanks so much.